Hello and welcome back to another episode of SHU Doing. I am Aaron Burrell alongside my co-host Paul Guarino.
How's it going, everybody?
Today we are joined by a very special guest, Sacred Heart's own Ariana White.
Hi, happy to
How's it
be
going?
here.
How's it going?
Good. Real life is hitting me these days. Just had a baby. She'll be 7 months on Saturday.
Congrats.
Yeah,
Thank
congrats.
you. It's a little girl. Her name's Parker, and she is my pride and joy. So, yeah, just
Yeah, I
putting
remember
her on.
that happening because we were supposed to interview you. Well, I don't even know if you knew you were supposed to be interviewed, but we had you on the list when you were supposed to come speak at Sacred Heart last year.
Yes, I remember, and I had the baby either the day before or the day of. It was like
That's
one or
crazy.
the other. So I was so bummed that I wasn't able to be there, and I was so excited. I remember them asking if I wanted to do it, and I was like, absolutely.
Yeah, that's awesome. Congrats, by the way. As a fellow new parent, I have a daughter as well. She's 8 months, or going to be 8 months next week. So,
Wow, congrats.
yeah, thank you. How has life changed for you?
A lot has changed. I'm now adjusting to being a working mom. So like I feel like when you have the baby, you're like in your little bubble during like maternity leave. And it was just like me and my fiance and the baby, and then like whoever we chose to let in. So now it feels so weird that I have to share her with everybody, and so not in my bubble anymore. I have to be social. Obviously working in music, it's busy, so there's just like a lot of time management, a lot of juggling. Yeah, I just feel like I wear a million hats now, but I don't know. I also feel like there's so many ways, like so many areas that I've grown in as a mom too. Like I can't be selfish anymore. Like you have to put someone else before you, and you know all those cliches, but it's great. It's the most beautiful challenge I've ever had.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's amazing to hear.
Yeah.
I understand the bubble and getting out of the bubble is it's a wild time, and it's just like weird. Everything is moving and changing, and I can imagine getting back into the working world. But before we get into what you do for work, we like to start at the beginning. And one, where are you from, and can you tell us about your journey to Sacred Heart?
So I was actually born in New York and raised in Middletown, Connecticut. And so I spent like my time, at Middletown High School. And then I went to Eastern for my undergrad. But I didn't quite feel like I was ready. I had done like an internship. I majored in communication. I minored in criminology. And so I had did like an internship at Clear Channel with like the radio stations in Connecticut. And then I did an internship at the Hartford Juvenile Probation Center, and I loved it. I worked with a probation officer, and it was like so much fun. And then but when I graduated, I didn't feel like I was ready to go into the real world. So I was like, if I could find a spot to do my master's that's accelerated, I will go. And so I had learned about the Sacred Heart program, and it was accelerated, and I decided to apply, and I got in, and my graduating class was the first class for the new program. Like yeah, so like for their corporate communications and public relations, we were like the first to graduate with the program, and it was like super cool.
What was that like being there in year one of the program? You and Paul share that as well. Paul and his program was year one as well.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool. It was nice. Like there was like, I love that I was able to do like a new class every 8 weeks, because it didn't feel like it wasn't boring. Like you got to learn everything. And, when you're working in media, it's always nice to have knowledge from like, just all the different sectors. So it was cool, and I really liked the professors, and I love the hands-on work. Like I had never like made a video before, and we had to like make a video, and I did speech classes and writing and all the things, and it was nice. So I feel like going through the program and being able to speak to so many different professors and like really dive in deeper, I was able to figure out like, okay, this is what I like, this is what I don't like, and then it kind of helped me pinpoint where I wanted to go. And then I also really love that we had to fulfill so many field work credits. Like half the program were internships. So it was nice to have that, especially since you know how like now it might be different, but like back, like my job now will hire people if they're not in college to intern, but back in the day 10 years ago they weren't doing that. You had to get
Right.
college credit.
Yeah.
So it allowed me to get the credit, and I interned at RCA during it. So that's kind of, yeah.
That's crazy. Actually, I never asked this because we don't have that many people that just only went for grad school. But it's kind of like, I don't want to throw shade to your other school, but like, do you think you'd want to go to Sacred Heart as an undergrad as well?
Yes.
All right.
I would have. I really enjoyed the area, because Eastern's in Willimantic. There's like not much up there. I mean, of course, I went and spent a lot of time at UConn and everything, but like Eastern is like the forgotten, forgotten one, because you're right near UConn, so everyone cares about UConn, not us.
Yeah.
So, and I joined my sorority up there. So those were my highlights, but I did love going to Sacred Heart. Like I said, the area, the close proximity to the city was cool. And I like am still friends with people from my class. Like one of my best friends got married in 2023. I was a bridesmaid. Like I plan on asking her to be a bridesmaid in my wedding next year. So it's like and we were both pregnant together. So it's just like I have some of my closest friends went to Sacred Heart. So I would have definitely changed my mind if I could.
That's awesome.
Although I will say it's more expensive than Eastern. So my student loans would have been higher.
You mentioned that you joined a sorority. Obviously, want to give them a little shout out. You want to go ahead and shout out your sorority?
Yes. Shout out to Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated.
Go. So you get to Sacred Heart, you do your internships. What was that first internship process like, or for you? You know, you mentioned that your first internship was at RCA. What was that moment like when you walked through the door for that very first time?
So, okay, funny enough, my first internship with Sacred Heart was Susan Blonde Inc. And it was a PR firm, but they are no longer open anymore. She was Michael Jackson's publicist. So I got to walking in that day. I mean, I still have the picture standing in front of like the building because I was like so excited and had like dreamed of like working in the city and like working my way into entertainment at that point. So it was surreal. It just felt so weird because I was like driving in to the city Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for my internship because I took my classes on Tuesday and Thursday. But I went in and I just jumped right in. I knew what I was doing because I had so much experience moving throughout the courses at SHU. So, it was exciting. Like I would get coffee, I would take out the trash, like whatever it was they needed me to do, I did it with like no issues. I always tell people like interning in the city, especially at a record label, is like making the band-aids. So, which I probably shouldn't talk about him, but
yeah, go to Brooklyn, get a sugar cookie.
Yeah, that was what I needed. I had to do a bunch of things, coffee, you name it. But then I split my time there, did my internship. I stayed there for like one semester. I know like more than 8 weeks, but like a full semester. I think I did like 3 months there. And then my next internship I did was at RCA, and definitely way more of a fast paced environment. Um, but like in the weirdest ways, I learned like, I mean, I not too much of a weird way, but I learned so much. I learned the importance of like, you never know who you're talking to.
Mm.
Like, and that was my biggest takeaway at RCA. Like, I said hi to the janitors, the mailmen, the security at the front desk. Like, didn't matter who it was. Like, I spoke to everybody because I quickly learned that the higher ups were they were very accessible, but they were also just like low key. So you never knew who you were talking to,
Mm.
or whose kid you were talking to. Like, you just never knew.
Yeah.
So that was like my biggest takeaway from there. But also just so excited. I got to work on like Chris Brown, Miley Cyrus, Britney Spears, gosh, so many people. So many
Who was the most like pinch me moment? Because obviously, like as you were just just in school, and all of a sudden now all the people you grew up watching or listening to are all of a sudden there, and they're right
So my pinch me moment didn't come until Atlantic.
now. Okay,
Yeah.
why
And
why
that
is that?
was, I met Jay-Z,
Okay.
and he was such a kind, like just a kind human. Like, he introduced himself, and I thought that was, that was just amazing. Like, just so humble to me. Like, he introduced himself and he's like, "Hi, I'm Sean." And he like reached his hand out. And of course I'm in my head like, I know who you are. Like, I was an assistant. I had just started like a year prior. And when I at that time I'm working crazy hours, so I'm like, I heard he was in the building, and I made sure to find my way in that corner.
Yeah.
And, he introduced himself, and I just thought that was great. So, yeah, that was when my pinch me moment came. My real pinch me moment would be meeting Beyonce, but
The
You met her
queen.
or you didn't meet her?
I need to. You said,
Oh.
what'd you say?
Wait, did you meet her?
No, not yet.
Oh.
That will be my pinch me moment. She kind of made me mad because she decided, when I actually started making money and could afford her concerts, she didn't want to do meet and greets anymore. So I missed my time buying a meet and greet. So now I have to, like, I don't know, go to the brunch or something to like
Yeah.
meet her.
Before we get more into Atlantic, how did you always want to work in music?
No, funny enough, I just fell into it. Like,
Yeah.
after the
Like,
intern,
what was your goal, like going into college for like PR?
I didn't have a goal. Like,
Fair enough.
I really didn't have a goal. Like,
What made you want to do PR then?
I liked people.
All right.
Like, my thing is, I liked people. I liked talking. I knew I didn't want a job that was going to be behind a desk. No offense to anyone who works behind a desk. Like, yes, I work behind a desk as well because I have to sit and pitch all day, but I wanted to do something that was like hands-on, something I'd be able to travel with, but I had no idea what that looked like. Like, growing up, you just see artists on the TV and stuff, like, and actors, and you just see famous people. I didn't know there were like people behind the scenes doing these jobs and everything. And it's funny because I'm an identical twin, and my sister knew she wanted to be an event planner. Like, from jump, she knew. She also went to Eastern, didn't go to Sacred Heart though.
We don't like her then.
She didn't get her master's. But she knew she wanted to be an event planner. And I was the twin that was like, I don't know what I want to do. Like, I'm just out here. And so, yeah, like, I think I just knew the characteristics of the job that I wanted to have. I didn't know exactly what it would look like until I interned at RCA. Then I was like, oh, this is really fun. I really like this. celebrities aside, it was just like a fast-paced job. No day was the same. So I was like, oh, I really want to try to get a job at a label.
That's dope.
There it is. Let's bridge the gap then from RCA to Atlantic, because obviously we have a large history here at Atlantic that I want to get to. But how do you get from RCA to Atlantic?
So I did, again, making sure everyone in that building knew my name. I was really close with the VP, Theola Borden. Love her to pieces. She was the one that sent my resume over. They didn't have any positions available at RCA when I was finished, but she wanted to help me out. And she had like asked me if I was interested in a position at Atlantic, because her friend was looking for a new assistant. So that was in May of 2014 that I went for my first interview with Atlantic. I did not get the job the first interview. They went with an internal hire. And then about 8 weeks later, they called me and asked if I was still looking for a job. And I said, F yeah. And they were like, okay, great. Like, you were our second choice. It didn't work out with the first choice. Like, come back in and we'll onboard you. And so like I went back in to like download with them on what I had been doing like in those 8 weeks. And yeah, and then they just like hired me on the spot. And then I started in September. So yeah, they called me back, but the onboarding process was just so long. So yeah, May I interviewed, didn't get the job. June, July went by, went back in August and started on September 2nd,
Wow.
2014. Yeah.
Wow.
That's crazy. I know we were briefly talking about it before, but like, how does it feel to like be somewhere, like, you've basically been there your whole career, so you've been there like 10 years. Like, what has that been like? I seen you got a lot of promotions too over the years.
Yeah, it's been nice. It's funny because, again, differing between my sister and I, my sister has been like a job hopper. Like she will move every year and she will have a new job every year or two. And a lot of people have hopped around, but like I've stayed. Like you said, I had a lot of promotions, so I never felt stagnant. I don't feel like they underestimated my worth, and so that's why I was able to stay and have been able to stay. There's still so many things that I want to accomplish. Like, I've never been to the Grammys before. Like I've never had a Grammy nominated artist, so I haven't had to go before. There's certain magazine covers I want, certain television bookings I want, and so I feel like there's still a ton of growth that to be had there. So and I've always worked with. There was a lot of women in leadership at Atlantic, and so that stood out to me and felt like a good space to be. And not only a lot of women, but there are a lot of Black women, in leadership. So that spoke to me, thinking about the long haul. There's been changes, a lot of leadership changes. But yeah, I'm just riding the waves.
And talking on that, I mean, this is a bit of more of a deeper question, but obviously having that representation and seeing other Black women in positions of power now as a mother, do you think about like your daughter seeing you as a Black woman in a position of power?
No, always. Like, always. Like, now I'm always talking to her and like saying things to her. I'm just like, in your own time, take your time. You have a choice. Like, we all have choices and everything. So I always let her choose between the toys she wants to play with. Like, yes, it's important to me for her to see it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And I mean, you talked about some of the things that you want to accomplish that you haven't yet. But what are some of the things that you have accomplished that like you look back on and like they're almost. I know I used the term pinch me before, but like if you were telling you who was walking into grad school where you what you have done today, like what are those moments that you're like, I'm proud of us?
There's a lot of them. First off, I've learned how to hold my tongue, um, and also speak up. Um, but so I worked Bad Baby, the Catch Me Outside girl,
Yeah.
and I think one of my biggest challenges was that project. And I had got the industry from calling her the Catch Me Outside girl to her stage name.
Yeah.
And I just remember when I started seeing like articles go out and they weren't calling her that anymore. And it took a lot to like work with her and to build, Danielle's story as an artist. And, that was a lot. So that's always one of the moments I look back and I'm like, wow. But I mean, I've put on so many big events. Um, I worked with Rico Nasty, and I got her so many covers, like just like the double XL freshman covers I've pitched and secured. And, I worked with NBA Youngboy for like 6 years, and that was like a tall task, and I accomplished it. And I got him to do press, and he was just like the sweetest. Like I got to spend so much time with my artists, and I have a very a familial approach to how I work with my talent, and I don't want it to be surface level. Like we spend a lot of time together. And so like with Youngboy, I went to New Orleans so many times. I went to Baton Rouge. I was in court with him. Like, there's just so many moments that I get to look back at and just, we were able to be humans together, like people. And that is very important to me. I don't ever want my artists to feel like they're above me, because no, you need to come on time. You need to be respectful. You need to say thank you, because this is my job and being an artist is your job. And we have mutual respect. And so I'm very proud of like those moments, like just being able to be people and, just, yeah, I don't know. It's like you spend time with the families and the kids. So like looking back at all of that, it's cool. I mean, and then of course, like the fun stuff, like the first time I was on the red carpet at the BET Awards, my hands were shaking. Like I was like, because you have to, when you're on a carpet, you're like trying to give like a quick little pitch of like who's coming down the carpet and everything. And like sometimes you're begging for them to talk to like your artist, and you don't want them to pass. And your artist is like right on your heels, and they're like, well, are they going to talk to me or not? And I'm just like, you're trying to do your job and elevator pitch in like 5 seconds. And so the carpets and the award shows have been like so fun. And then I got to bring some of my artists to my high school. Like Rico Nasty came to my high school and it was mayhem. I got to bring No Cap to my high school and that was mayhem. He like listened to all the boys rap freestyle for him in the hallway. And it's just like those moments, especially when I get to bring them home. Like, and they like, if they of course are like touring in New Haven or Hartford, but they'll come to Middletown. And like, this is something that these kids have never dreamed of happening before. So, and No Cap pulled up in a tour bus. So it like set everything up in flames in the school. So it was just like so much fun, like just being outside of the box and thinking creatively.
Definitely.
So do you have like your own list of clients for Atlantic Records?
Yeah. So we get our own roster. We get assigned a roster of artists, and then I just do everything for them. It's that's kind of how it goes. Like a new artist will get signed, and then they'll like look for a publicist to put on the project. And we just assign a core team in general. Like you have a product manager for marketing, you have digital marketing, you have someone from radio, someone from streaming and sales. Like, yeah.
Gotcha.
Ariana, I know obviously, like working in the music industry, when you're not at work, are you still listening to music? Like for myself, I work in sports. So sometimes like I try and like, I'll tune into music industry things when I want to like decompress for a moment. And, obviously work-life balance is important. How do you find yours?
So it's funny because my fiance Eddie just said to me the other day, I think it's crazy how you just will sit in silence in the car and you don't want to listen to anything. And I'm just like, I listen to music all day. Like, I just want silence sometimes. Like, I'll go into the office, everybody is playing music and they're all playing different songs, like in different genres. So it's different volumes. Like there's so much. I'm super overstimulated. So, I do really well with my work-life balance now, especially after having Parker. I will like come home and play with her. Like I leave the office, I pick her up from daycare, and then I just play with her. I don't look at my phone. I don't look at my emails. I'll get on a call if I have to. But I try to like give her my undivided attention for the hour and a half, 2 hours that she's awake from the time I get her. But then the weekends, I just like, no, they know, don't bother me on the weekends. Like it has to be an emergency. I'm not checking my emails. Of course, if there's a release coming out, there is an expectation because it is an industry that is 24/7. So if there's like an emergency, like people know how to reach me, but they also know that I don't play about my work-life balance. So they respect that. Americans are the only people who have the work culture that
Right.
we have here. Like
we interviewed a girl from the UK that we went to school with, and I forgot it was a crazy amount of time off they had. It was like half a year. It was like
he's talking about her maternity leave. I was like, that
I
would
know.
never happen here.
Americans are the only people who have adapted this work-life culture that you always have to be on.
right.
And I don't subscribe to that. When I was an assistant, I did.
That's what I'm about to use. I'm about to use that. I don't subscribe to that.
Yeah, right.
I don't subscribe to that. Like when I was an assistant, of course I did, because when you assist somebody, your life revolves around work and their schedule.
Right.
And I knew that. I've watched enough TV to know how the music industry works. But once I got into like a managerial role and was able to make my own rules, I drew a thick line in the sand on this is what I'm going to do, this is what I'm not going to do. So yeah, I just and I love to go to the spa, I love to hike, I love to spend a lot of time in Connecticut. I'm always going on. I went for a walk this evening in the park with the baby and stuff. Like I go to workout classes. Like I'm getting married next year, so now I'm just spending a lot of my free time trying to work out so I can like love myself in my wedding dress and just like, yeah, life is short. I also, not to be morbid or anything, but I just feel like a lot of younger people are like dying, earlier in life. And so I just want to enjoy my life and like my time. So it's super important to me to allow myself that space away from just the free time.
Love that.
Yeah, definitely.
Before we're going to get into our section Fun SHU, but I just realized we talked about all the promotions and all of that, but we never actually we never got into what your current role is. Can you just tell us about your current role in a brief, about what you are doing?
Yeah, so right now I'm the Vice President of Press and Media Strategy at Atlantic. And for the most part, the role is the same. It's more so the caliber of artists you get to have access to. So right now, like I just got like assigned T Grizzly.
Oh,
So I'm excited to like start diving into, his project. From what I've heard so far is like really excited. It sounds really good. And then like I'm working on Georgiana and stuff, and we just signed 4 bats, so I'm trying to like finagle my way onto that project too. So it's like you just get more autonomy in the role, but still the same pitching and traveling for work and press releases and bios and photo shoots, like still the same thing.
Nice. Well, we want to we want to be respectful of your time, so we want to get into our section. This is Paul's favorite section. It's called Fun SHU. We're still working on the name, so if you or anyone at Atlantic wants to pitch us a name, we are all ears. But PG, go ahead, take it away.
Have you been back to SHU since you graduated?
No.
You got to go back. So because there's like 10 new buildings.
Like I was really gutted that I couldn't go to the event last year. So I hope to go back, because I've talked to James Castengay. I don't know if I'm gonna pronounce it right, but and he has like told me like come back, talk to the students and stuff. So I definitely want to get back now that I'm not pregnant anymore.
Yeah. Actually, we'll tell them, because they have the event every October, I think, or September maybe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Who was your favorite professor at SHU?
So Lori Bindig.
Yeah.
I don't even know how I'm remembering all these names.
Yeah, no, that's her name.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
I don't know how I as a publicist, the one thing I pride myself on is like asking the person for their name, and then, acknowledging them as a person. Big on that.
Yeah, for sure. What's last one? What's one thing you miss for going to Cigar?
The campus was really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. The campus was really nice.
I thought you got to see it now. It's crazy. We didn't know, like 2 years ago, I think was the first time like we actually saw it, and me and him were like, yeah, this looks like Hogwarts now.
Yeah. And recently we even went and ate at like they have a diner now on campus.
Oh yeah.
We ate at a diner. The food was really good. I was like, this is so crazy.
Yeah. So what do you guys go back to record the podcast? Now I'm interviewing you.
Yes, we do.
Oh, cool.
So usually we just do a block and do like a 5 hour.
Giving away our secrets, PG.
Wow. Okay, well, let me know the next time you guys do a block, and then I'll just like take a day from work and come so I can have lunch with y'all in the cafeteria, because you just said that they have good food.
Yeah.
So, and then I'll pop in on like the professors.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm sure they'll remember me, but
wait, do you have Miller?
No.
No. Wait till you meet him. He's a character.
I didn't have him.
You'll meet him. He's like the head of he's like below James in terms of the communications department.
Okay.
Yeah. Good times.
That name doesn't stand out.
He's the man. You'll meet him. He'll be making jokes right when you meet him.
Were you both in the media, the program?
Yes. Yeah.
No, we were in sports media.
Yeah.
Sports media.
Okay.
So it was separate. Yeah. So when he said the first program, I was in the first class of the sports communications and media program.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I was in the second class.
Okay.
But we were in the same undergrad class. We've known each other since undergrad.
You went to SHU for undergrad.
Yeah, he just popped into my room one day.
That is complete opposite. I lived on the 6th floor of Seton Hall, and we used to we lived right outside the elevator, and we used to leave like an iron board in our elevator so anyone could walk in and out. We had a TV, people would come watch. I would come back from class and people would just be playing video games in our room. And one day I just saw Paul in there, and I don't know how, but we just became friends ever since. That's just how simple it is.
I love that.
Yeah. So he even came down to Florida to our wedding, it's almost a year and a half ago now. So Yeah, good friends.
Yeah, it was lit.
Well, yes. So tell me the next time you're doing your
Yeah, for
big
sure.
day, and I'll come to Sacred Heart so I could see it. And then,
Actually, I just saw. I didn't know Atlantic Record has a boogie. He just went. He just performed there yesterday or 2 days ago.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
And he just popped out in an MLS event we had just the other day as well.
oh, he's always popping out.
Yeah.
He's always popping
He's
out.
everywhere.
Yeah.
No, that's awesome. Ariana, we want to thank you for your time. We really appreciate it. This has been a great conversation. We hope you all have enjoyed. This has been another episode of What You Doing. We'll see y'all next time.